Good evening. My name is Vicki Partlow, and this is my introduction for EDL 850 School Law. Just a little bit about myself. I currently live in Stafford County, Virginia. We've been living here for 5 years. I was born on Long Island, but I grew up in Kentucky because my father was transferred when I was 7 years old. I have lived in several different places over the years, including Indiana, New York, and most recently Germany. I've been married for over 11 years. My husband and I met when we were both working second jobs as servers. So every year when we go home for the holidays, we make it a point to have dinner at Chili's, which is where we met. Although we do not have children, I do we both have permanent custody of my nephew, who is a sophomore in high school this year. And we are also parents to a very spoiled and a very bossy miniature dachshund. My educational background consists of a Bachelor's of Arts in Communication Disorders, a Master's of Arts in Interdisciplinary Early Childhood Special Education, and a Master's of Science in Library Media Science. This is my fourth class I've been taking with Fort Hays State University. I previously took the special education course and the intro course. And believe it or not, I've blanked on the other course that I have taken. I currently teach 4-year-old students with special education needs for the Stafford County School District. Like I said, this is my 5th year teaching in the state of Virginia. I spent 2 years working as an educational diagnostician and administrative designee for Stafford County. All educational diagnosticians are also what we call administrative designees. We are not only charged with assessing and evaluating students for special education services, but we are also administrators for the meetings that are being held for our special education students. On top of that, one of my responsibilities for 2 of my schools was also to lead in any meetings for all of our general education students who had a Section 504 plan. For the last 3 years, though, I have been teaching in our early childhood special education program. Where my first year I had 3s and 4s. My second year I had 2-year-olds and 4-year-olds. And this year I only have 4-year-olds. Out of that whole bunch, I prefer working with 4-year-olds the most. I also worked for the Department of Defense schools overseas in Germany as a special education assessor. And I also was a contractor for the United States Army. I did early intervention services for our military families who had children ages 0 to 3 with special education concerns. I will have to say that working with the military has been one of my most rewarding careers and one in which I miss dearly every single day. So this is our first year in our new building. Previously, all the early childhood special education programs in Stafford County were housed in our elementary schools. However, we also have the Head Start program and the Virginia Preschool Initiative programs. As you know, Head Start is a federally funded program, and our Virginia Preschool Initiative programs are state funded. So our Head Start and VPI programs were a program that were together in one building, and all of the early childhood special education programs were scattered throughout the county. And we have a very large county, about 40 miles outside of Washington, D.C., and all of our programs were in those schools. This year, they built a new early childhood center in the north, and the previous Head Start center was in the south, and so they've split all of our Head Start, VPI, and early childhood special education programs in these 2 buildings. So what comes along with that is new rules and regulations and policies and procedures that come with having a program like Head Start and VPI, which has its kind of own set of rules within our policies and procedures for our county. That being said, we have a director who oversees both of those two buildings, and then we have assistant principals, one each in the north and south locations. At this point, this is all new to all of us, having that early childhood special ed piece underneath that umbrella with Head Start and VPI. Really, rules and regulations, policies and procedures, things of that nature have not really been discussed with us as of yet. We all kind of know the basics that most, or hopefully most, employees of a school district know, those, what's appropriate, what's not appropriate behavior, all of our safety drills that are required by law to have, some of the policies for like sick children. Currently, right now, one of our big things that we're working on is the policies and procedures for our car riders, which has tripled with the amount of extra classrooms and have not been going well over the last 2 weeks that school has been in session. So again, we sat down yesterday as a team and talked about ways that we can, fix this and enact some policies and procedures that have for safety reasons. As an employee, we do have access to more detailed information pertaining to our district's policies and procedures on our county website. I have unfortunately not looked at them closely since working in Stafford County, but we do have access to all of that manual. My own personal knowledge, I read our employee handbook when I was first hired. I understand that safety drills are mandatory and they have to have a certain number of them per year. And in fact, you have to have so many fire drills within the first month of school. We just received our email from our director that outlined what drills we're having in the next couple of weeks, such as another fire drill, a lockdown drill. I understand that there's certain dress codes, and each school kind of there's like a standard dress code, and then each school kind of has its own dress code. For instance, some schools allow jeans, some schools only allow jeans on Fridays, some schools allow shorts, some schools don't. So within a school, the director itself or the principal has the authority to kind of tweak that dress code to what they feel is appropriate. I have a background in special education and have been in the special education field since 1988. So I do feel that in regards to special education law, special education experience and knowledge is where I am stronger about than, let's just say, general overall school and administrative policy. So one of the things for my plan of action as I was going through this and thinking about it is definitely will be reading through some of our district's policies and regulations manual. Again, it is located online. We do have access to most of it. I did notice that there were some things that there was just nothing under. One of the things I was thinking this year was to start attending our school board meetings. We do have school board meetings every month. They are also live streamed, so you can actually watch it on our cable TV if you're so inclined, or you can actually click on them the next day as they're, you can watch them later on if you can't do the live stream or be there in person. One of the things I also want to do is talk to my administrators about their understanding and experience with school law. I do know that our director is very fluent in understanding the Head Start federal guidelines, and those are pretty stringent. I think that's the right word. Because, and I know this, I do know the Head Start, a lot of Head Start policy and procedure, because I was an educational disability coordinator for Head Start about 20 years ago. And even 20 years ago, those rules and regulations for Head Start were pretty lengthy. And, there was lots of things that you had to follow. For instance, one of the policies and procedures for Head Start is that all children have to brush their teeth. As an early childhood special education classroom, we are not required to do that. However, there might come a point where this is new for everybody this year, but there might come a point in the near future where they want the programs to be more aligned. As it is, Head Start and VPI programs are pretty aligned in that they all do kind of the same things. They follow the same kinds of curriculum. Whereas as early childhood special educators, we've kind of been left to do our own things over the years. We have certain curriculum that we follow, but we create our own themes. We run our classrooms how we see fit. We're not even required to turn in lesson plans. And that's kind of starting to change. So as we move forward in the future and trying to merge our two, or three actually, programs into one, there's going to be a lot of changes. Personally, on the part of all of us who are early childhood special educators, in how we do things in our classrooms and the policies and procedures that we follow. And so I would like to sit down with my assistant principal and our preschool coordinator. As a matter of fact, we have one of those who kind of oversees our early childhood programs for special education, and just kind of talk about where they see how our programs are going to be moving forward in the future. And also, they actually just set out a call for people if they want to be on the school board advisory committees. And so that's something that I'm going to look into doing. Anyway, this is going to be a great class. I'm really interested in school law. I really enjoy reading about special education law. So I think this will be a really fun experience. Thank you all. Have a great evening.